Hello everyone and welcome to today's presentation. I hope you all are doing great. Today we'll talk about one of the emerging delivery methods in construction. By emerging, I mean the popularity of this delivery method is rising very fast, and more projects are, have started to take design build as their delivery method. So let's learn more about design build. What is design build project delivery? Design build is a type of project delivery in which the contractor and the designer are joined together, and then they have a single contract with the owner to do both the design and construction. Design build, one of the identifying characteristics of design build is a lot of interdisciplinary team approach in which the design and construction team are not separate the way they are in design bid build, but they are all under the observation of the same firm, okay? Or they could be different people in one company. Are the designers and construction team always part of one firm in design build? That is important. So it is wrong to think that in design build, the constructor will do the design by their own people. No, that could be the case, and that is the case in a good number of cases, but the constructor may also decide to bring other people as designers, okay? So, to put it in more simple words, the constructor firm may decide to do the design in-house, or they may decide to bring other people, to hire other designers to design the project for them. But in both of the cases, the constructor is the responsible party for the design. It means even if they hire another firm to do the design for them, if they screw or for any issues with the design, the owner will not be liable. It means the constructor has to, cover any issues that the design team may have created. Yeah, so the design builder may be a constructor that subcontracts the design to a design subcontractor. Yeah, this is the way a general contractor would hire a subcontractor. The design builder in this case would hire a design firm who would work as a subcontractor for them being the contractor or the design builder. The design builder may also be a joint venture of design and construction firms, so who are connected together and who do both of the design and construction work. The risk of design build for an owner. So in this type of delivery, all responsibilities are carried out by the design builder firm, okay? So they have a lot of impact on the project. If they do a good job, the project will be successful, and if for any reason they are not good enough, some people in the design team are not good enough, or in the construction team, then the project will most probably fail. And the owner has to rely on the designers that the design builder selects. Okay, so consider the design bid build case. In that case, the owner would go ahead and select the designer firm and then select the construction firm. But here, once you select the firm, they are responsible for both design and construction. This is expected to reduce owner's control on the selection of the qualified designers, and is also expected to impact the quality of the design, because the design builder would just go with any designers that they have in their team, or they have some collaboration with. Whereas in design bid build, you could select and you could put a bid, announce a bid opportunity for different designers, and then select the best or the highest qualified, the most qualified design firm to do the design for you. So there are some solutions to increase owner's control on the design process in design build delivery method. The first one being is hiring consultants to, these consultants, these design consultants would oversee or would observe the design team and make sure that they are qualified and they are actually meeting the owner's expectations. Okay. Expectations. So the owner can also develop bridging documents. The bridging documents work as milestones for the design team. So they are an additional tool to make sure that owners' expectations are being met by the design team. So once again, in this slide and the previous one, we said in design build, one of the drawbacks is owner's control on the designers are reduced, because the design builder will just select any designers they want to do the design. So in order to increase owner's control, or in order to mitigate the risk of design, the risk of that the designers deviate from owner's expectations, there are some tools. First tool is that hiring consultant designers who would oversee the design team and who would make sure that owners' expectations are being met by the design team, or having bridging documents. Bridging documents work as milestones that vividly and clearly explain owners' expectations from the design team, and could be used as a tool to make sure that the design team are doing their job right. So, but let's talk more about bridging documents. First of all, the party who prepares bridging documents would be the owner. Okay, so the owner provides the bridging documents. There could be some basis of pricing for the owner. For example, the owner might tell the designers that I want to keep the price within this range for that specific material. For example, for the elevators, I don't want them to cost more than this amount. Or owner provides some guidelines in different for different aspects of design, including selection of materials and other stuff. So bridging documents could have different levels of details. They could be preliminary, or they could be quite, detailed and or complete, and provide guidelines for many things on the design package that the designers will follow. Well, obviously, the more details you provide, the more bridging documents you provide, the advantage is that you are, the owner is more sure that their expectations will be, will be met by the design teams. But there is also a drawback. So what is a drawback of a lot of bridging documents? So one advantage of design build delivery method is that the designers could get creative and could come up with some solutions, because they are mixed with the constructors, and they could come up with some solutions that could help the project to save money and to be delivered more quickly. So when the owner limits the design team by a lot of bridging documents, it's like a lot of rules that you have to follow that obviously, reduces creativity for the design team. So that's one of the drawbacks of that. The consultant engaged by the owner to create a set of bridging documents. Yeah, that's another way. If the owner is not, experienced enough, they could hire another consulting firms. Well, that could be the case in big projects that select to go with the design build. So in them, the owner would hire a consulting firm who would take care of the design team, who would take care of owners' expectations and needs. And they work with the design team to make sure what they are designing is what the owner wants. So the bridging architect's responsibility is to assist the owner in creating the documents and then to work closely with the design team to make sure that they are doing the design in accordance with the bridging documents. Yeah, like I said, it will diminish some advantages. I mean, a lot of bridging documents will diminish some advantages of design build as the designers will become limited to specific milestones that the owner has decided for them, and there will be less space for creativity. So, owner's program is another tool to make sure that the designers are doing their job right. What it provides is a statement of project requirements. So it explains everything for the designers, and it provides just make sure my recording is going fine. Yes, it is. So owners program specify or explain more criteria about the owner, more project criteria that are set by the owner to control the design team. So again, one of the main concerns in design build delivery method is the limited control of the design on the design by the owner, and we introduced two tools for that: owner's program and also bridging documents, or hiring consultants who would take care of owner's expectations. So the concept of savings in design build is similar to CM at risk. It means both of the parties could come to an agreement that if they could finish the project with a cost lower than what was decided, they could share the savings. And so this should be clearly stated in the contract to avoid later, conflicts. Yeah, again, one of the advantages of design build is the high level of collaboration, and by sharing the advantages, sharing the savings, you could actually increase that collaboration in a way that everyone has some motivation to lower the costs. Well, if you know that your effort will not lead you to make any savings, but it will help another party to save some money, you obviously will have less motivation, right? Less incentive to work hard to save in your work. But when you know that a part of the saving will come to your pocket, then obviously you will try harder to make that saving happen. So, who holds the construction and project contingency? The answer is both contingencies are held by the owner. Construction contingency is used for minor, and project contingency is used for major problems on the project. What are the typical characteristics of design build? The ability to fast track, and I'm emphasizing that it is the ability of fast track. So some people think that design build is necessarily fast track. It means the design and construction must happen at the same time. That is wrong. Design and build have the option to happen simultaneously, and that is most of the time the case. But the design builder might decide to complete the design first and then start the construction. So both are possible, but most of the time the idea of selecting design build as the delivery method is fast tracking. So it does not have to be fast tracked. How is the design builder selected? So the design builder is selected long before a budget or price can be determined. Okay, so the owner could have different criteria for selection, but qualification-based selection or best value fees is most of the time two main criteria or two main methods for the selection of the design builder. Here we don't call them contractor, we call them design builder. All right, so you may watch this video. Let me make sure that it plays. Let's watch it together.
About building a home or a commercial. Have you ever thought about building a home or a commercial building, but you're confused about what the difference is between an architecture firm and a design build firm? Well, I'm here to shed some light on the differences between the two. The traditional approach to architectural projects is where the project is designed by one entity, the architect or the designer, and is built by another entity, the builder or the contractor. The traditional approach is referred to as design, bid, build. Here's how it works. When the architect has finished the construction documents for the project, it's then put out to bid where different contractors give their proposals and estimates for construction. After a contractor is selected, the project can begin. Design build is a method of delivering a project in which the design and construction services are contracted by a single entity. So, why should you use design build? For starters, design build saves time. Because the design build team is fully integrated, the project delivery from concept to completion is significantly reduced. Fast tracking allows overlapping of all design phases, and time is saved in pre-construction by not needing to bid out and wait on different contractors. The design build team is also extremely adaptive to changes during the construction process, where changes and decisions can be made on site. Design build saves money. The design build team has access to the most recent construction costs, so the price proposal is given at the beginning of the project, not when the plans are complete. This is advantageous to the client as they can make more informed decisions during the design process. Clients can save an average of 10% of project costs by using the design build project delivery as opposed to design bid build.
That is a lot.
Accountability. Design builders are one entity that wears two hats, one of the designer and the other of the builder, making it much easier for the owner of the project as they only have one point of contact. This reduces risk to the client if problems occur, as only one entity is held accountable for design or construction issues.
Right.
Coordination. The design build team works with the owner on important decisions such as design, performance, and cost throughout the project, while also coordinating different elements of construction, allowing for a faster project delivery. The owner is an active participant in the process, ensuring that the client's goals will be achieved and giving the client a sense of pride in their project. Now that you've seen the benefits that design build has to offer, such as saving time, money, more accountability, and better coordination, Consider using design build on your next building project or custom home.
Okay. So, yeah, these four advantages are important. Saving the time, saving the money, more accountability, because one firm is responsible for both design and construction, and better coordination, again, for the same reason. Alrighty. So let's go back to the presentation. Timing of establishing the contract amount, the parties can agree upon the price at any time in the project. It could go with, the reimbursement method could be cost plus. In that case, you need to know the cost at the beginning of the project and to define reimbursable expenses, okay? Also to establish a means of presenting incurred costs. So if you go lump sum or GMP, the cost may not be set until all the design details are ready and complete, and at least until the design is at an advanced stage. So that would take more time, and that would limit, if you want to go with lump sum or GMP with design build, the fast tracking could be, disabled or limited. Selection method. The selection method could be qualification-based selection. So the owner would set some criteria, and then we'll go ahead and check different design builder firms, and then investigates if if their criteria are met by those designers, or which firm more completely satisfies the owner's expectations. Best value fees could be another way. So qualification fees and possibly general condition costs are taken into consideration when the owner is making a decision about which company to choose. Best value total cost is the third method. So not only the cost, but not only the qualifications, but also some cost issues would be taken into consideration. One example is that the owner would select the design team who have highly rated technical proposals, okay? Means they're technically more qualified to get the job done. So low bid is not very common, because one of the requirements of low bid is having the design package 100% ready, and that disables fast tracking. And fast tracking is one of the main purposes of design build delivery method. So low bid is not very common, but it is doable. So about the changes. Changes happen all the time, but when you select design build as a delivery method, managing the changes would happen more easily, because there is no confrontation or opposition between the design team and the construction team. They are under the same umbrella, or they are working together. So if the designer is a screw, or if they have an issue, the owner will have an easier time. They don't have to cover the charges for the constructor, because the designers made a mistake. The owner has more is more comfortable with this delivery method as it relates to design issues. Okay, so yeah, making changes would be also easier, because the constructor is working for the owner, and also the designer are embedded in the construction team. So the owner has an easier job to make modifications, and ask the constructor to reflect those changes on the project. So evaluating changes can be more complex on a design build project than on design bid build, because sometimes owners will, it is more difficult because the reason for that, the reason for more difficult, evaluating changes is that when the design builder proposes a change from the owner or to the owner does not have an independent designer who he could go to or she could go to and ask for advice, because the designers now work for the constructor. So because they are in the same group, the owner cannot ask for consultancy from the designers. All right, so I will teach this in two parts. I finished the first part right here. Again, design build is one of the most successful delivery methods nowadays that leads to cost saving, that leads to a faster delivery, more collaboration between the team, and more accountability. So we will continue this lecture next time. Thank you for your attention.